This episode is brought to you by the Corcoran Home Team. Are you planning on buying or selling a home this year? Carrie and her team give you the competitive edge with unmatched marketing and expert local knowledge, so you can focus on what matters. Corcoran Home Team. Real estate made simple. Real estate done right. Get ready for the Hustle Northwest podcast, where Oregon's dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs share their stories. Get inspired, get motivated, and get ready to hustle. Now, here are your hosts, Brian and Carrie.
All right. Hey, we are here with the one and only Bo and Vine. We got father and son. We got Matt, and we got Mike. And off camera, we have the other owner, Brian, who spells his name the right way. So we welcome, guys, and thanks for coming in. We want to hear about burgers today. We want to know
all things Bo and Vine.
All things Bo and Vine. So tell us how it got started.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. So we started with a food truck. It was called the Paddy Wagon, and that was we got the food truck from, who was it? The organization?
Salem Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, they had this truck, and a friend of mine ran it, and it was called Dad's Burgers. And he's still a good friend of mine today. He's a chef and been in a lot of different restaurants, but he was it just wasn't going real well. They had him sitting in front of OK Tires on 12th Street, and there was a lot of how do I say, hands involved. And so
too many chefs in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so it wasn't doing what the Salem Association of Realtors thought it should do. And so he said, well, here, have it back. So it ended up in somebody's barn.
Okay.
And he told me about it, and I said, do you think they'd want to let me use that? And he goes,
Is that the same one that you guys currently have? Because I've seen a picture of one.
No,
Is that a different
no.
one? Okay.
No, that's
Matt's
a whole...
like, no.
No, totally different.
No, it's
not even
like,
close.
Yeah. So I said, I met with Salem Associated Realtors president, and I said, hey, Don, I said, I got this idea for another concept, a burger concept, and my boy's going to run it, and I'll give you, they had this fund for children. They do a Christmas party every year. And I said, I'll give you 10% right off the top of everything. That's pretty much your profit. And so I just wanted to test this concept. And so we got it and rebranded it, named it the Paddy Wagon, and it was a police-themed food truck.
Yeah.
And we have pictures with state police and sheriff and Salem PD. Everybody wanted their picture in front of it. And so that was going pretty well. And then we donated over a period of 3 years. I think we donated, what was it? $25,000, $30,000 or something like that back to the fund.
Wow.
Something, maybe it's less than that. Maybe half of that, 12 or 15 maybe. And anyways, and that's where Matt...
Yeah, so we got the food truck, and we immediately took it to Salem's first food pod at Barrel and Keg over on Broadway. And so we were there all summer long, and we were doing events, and I think we got into State Fair with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did State Fair with that. And then we just kind of hit winter, and nothing was going on with it, and so it was kind of like all right, are we going to keep doing this, or what are we going to do? And that's when Brian came in. And so Brian had seen the food truck out at Outward Church for an event that we did, and he reached out to me on our Facebook page, and he said basically, he's like, hey, I love what you're doing. I'd love to be a part of it, and have you ever thought of like a brick and mortar? And at the time, I wasn't ready for that. I didn't really want to continue to invest in that, and so I was basically just like, no. And then
thanks for the message.
Yeah. I'm like,
oh, that's nice.
Nice,
Pass.
but no thanks.
I'm good.
Plain hard to get. That's
Yeah. But he didn't stop. And so he reached back out several months later. He had other people that were ready to invest in it and put a brick and mortar together. And so I met with him and another guy, and we kind of were ready to move forward. And then those guys kind of backed out, and so it was just me and Brian at that point, and we weren't really sure how we were going to do it. We had, obviously, I knew operations and the menu and all that, and Brian was marketing, but we needed someone else to kind of complete the picture and be so we were a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
And so obviously I knew someone else in the industry, so I reached out to my dad and said, "Are you interested? Like, do we want to move forward? Do we want to do something else?" And of course he was in. He was ready to go for it. So from there, we found the location. We started working on a more well-rounded menu that would fit like a brick and mortar.
And you changed the name because Paddy Wagon doesn't
changed the
fit
name.
with a brick and mortar.
No.
No.
So, and Brian was the one that came up with the name, and I mean, it's Bow and Vine. It
It's
rolls
classy.
off the tongue. Yeah.
It sounds classy. It sounds like an upscale restaurant.
Yep. And we have, I mean,
is an upscale
great logo,
restaurant.
great branding, and everything to go with it.
Well,
and
that's the thing. Give him Brian a lot of credit for that part of it, because I've started a few restaurants, and I just go in and I just fly by the seat of my pants. You know, I don't go for branding. I just go to the cash and carry and I buy some paper wraps that have a pretty picture on them, or so, you know, or just plain or whatever. And I'm like, what do we need all that stuff for?
yeah.
He's like, what's marketing?
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, we talked about this earlier because we had a little meeting just to kind of talk about it, and you talk about too many cooks in the kitchen, and if you have 5 chefs coming in with doing 5 chef things, it's hard to. Well, you're going to get people that butt heads. You have to have people who are in their own silos, who are good at their thing, that come together and bring it into a full business.
Yeah, so I mean, we all have our specific roles and area of expertise, and so that's why this has worked for so long, is because we all kind of stay in our own lane and know what we're doing, and trust that the other person knows what they're doing as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I like to say I'm the old man, but I've been doing this for almost 30 years. So
Yeah.
I come with a lot of experience on the restaurant side of things.
Yeah.
And Brian, he's been marketing. I think that's pretty much his primary job when we met him, was marketing for churches or something, wasn't it?
A lot of web development, marketing, brand development.
Yeah. So he comes with that expertise, which, me, I just go down to the radio station and pay him some money and put a commercial on there. I've done television advertising too, but
That's always a hard thing when you start a business, is you have to, especially when you start out alone, you have to do everything, and something is not going to be right until you can afford to have either hire that out or bring someone in to help with that. But I mean, you guys have been successful with it, because you started downtown was your first location.
Yeah.
And now you've moved out to South Salem.
When did you guys open downtown?
So downtown opened. Technically, the grand opening was June 2nd of 2017.
Okay.
But thanks to Brian's marketing, we actually had our soft opening 2 weeks prior to that, and we just got slammed.
Hammered.
Too many people knew about us, wanted to try us.
That's
We
all
did
people do.
too good of a job marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a good problem to have, right?
Oh,
We're
it
gonna talk
was
to Brian
insane.
after
Yeah.
this, because we got no.
I have a story about how marketing worked too well beyond, because I have some other businesses, but I'll get into that one
Okay.
if you're curious.
Yeah, definitely.
So we might have Brian jump in at some point. Do you want to talk about it now?
In right now?
Okay. It doesn't have to do with Bow and Vine.
No, that's fine.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right.
So behind the scenes, Brian is now coming in.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
All right. Oh wow, this is a whole other world.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna do
It probably sounds like we were shouting out there. Like, why are they so loud?
I know.
Really yelling at me.
And I feel like I'm talking in a normal volume
Yeah.
over there, and it's probably like I'm in the way distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Brian.
Hi guys.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
Okay. Perfect.
So tell us about your background, how you came into it. Why did you look at the Paddy Wagon and say, I got an idea about this?
Yeah. So my wife and I moved up here. We've been up here about 10 years now, but we were from Arizona, and at the time we were from Gilbert, and Gilbert was growing rapidly to the point where some of the blocks of downtown are night and day difference now. There's been a lot of investment and development and stuff, and it just has become this destination.
Yeah.
So we were kind of at the beginning stages of that. So we got to see a lot of really cool restaurants and businesses start to just bring this groundswell of attraction to the area that we were in. That was really cool. We moved up here, and downtown Salem was starting to see some of that as well. I was thinking of, you know, places like Archive, I think were initially were kind of like, wow, this is really cool. Like they're doing this. And my restaurant, I don't have any background in restaurants. So my background is in tech, brand, marketing, and systems. Really, I was a business major at Arizona State.
Yeah.
So I had no experience in any of this. So, but I thought it was really cool and something that an itch that I really wanted to be a part of scratching. But I knew that like I didn't have any skill set in this. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Getting involved with this. So then, you know, having seen what Matt was doing, I thought, wow, this could be a really good partnership. Just kind of working off, like Matt had said, like the strengths and weaknesses, you know, playing off those different roles. And so bringing Mike into it really helped round that out, like you were talking about earlier. And so I felt confident bringing what I could to this piece. And I love the details. I love the experience of things, no matter what it is, restaurant or otherwise. Matt was obviously really gifted, and as young as he was, like, how old were you? This was like...
I was 23 when we started.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was already on his way toward developing something really cool with the Paddy Wagon. So I thought, well, we can kind of bring our efforts together. I didn't know about Mike at the time. It wasn't until later that Matt's like, hey, we need to bring in somebody else to round this out. And then met Mike, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So
Nice little trio.
yeah. And, you know, honestly, I think Salem really was craving things like that because as soon as we started talking about it, I mean, people just latched on in terms of like social media and just engagement and response and stuff. We didn't really have to try that hard. We just said, here's a concept that we're working on. We got people excited about it right out of the gate. We ran a Kickstarter campaign that was funded within 24 hours. So it was just like boom, boom, boom. So we had a lot of momentum going into grand opening. So I think I think we just found a rhythm, and we hit on something that was desperately needed downtown.
So there's a lot of corporate like burger places. So what was the concept? And this is more like an elevated like burger experience. Is that the thought process behind? You want to kind of take it to a next level and like, I want something that's going to be looks good, tastes really good, not just cheap.
Yeah, so I mean, we looked at a lot of different places. At the time, I think one of our biggest inspirations was Tilt in Portland. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
They had 2 or 3 locations in the Portland area, and they were just doing really over the top burgers. I mean, similar to what we're doing now. And I think they ended up closing in 2020. But that was kind of our inspiration, was we were seeing what these other big cities were doing, and we didn't have anything like that here. And so it was bringing those kind of concepts to this population. And I mean, it was very much well received for sure. So
people appreciate, I mean, I like burgers. And it's nice getting a good burger that's not like soggy and like, you know, there's the ones that I've gotten to a burger place, you know, and they package it up in the styrofoam. By the time you get out to where you can eat it, you open up and the burger's like sweating. It looks like it's been in a sauna. It's sweating more than I do sometimes when I eat. So
the sauna burger.
Yeah.
Sauna burger.
So I do
special.
I do like a good burger, and I'm okay paying a little bit more for something that I like and tastes good. So I appreciate the elevated experience, and it makes me sound fancy when I go there.
Well, and we went there after church on Sunday, and we had our 3 girls with us, and each of them was able to like pick something out, and they're picky. I mean, they're girls. So they, when they got their burgers, we're always kind of like, okay, are you going to eat it? Or are you not going to? Is this like a one bite? They like devoured it.
Yeah.
And they were like, it was so good. And then there was so much to choose from too. So.
Yeah, we have so many options of things that I've created. And then, I mean, to create your own menu, so you can really just do whatever you want. Like there's no limits to how crazy you can go or how simple you can go with our burger. So.
Well, and your staff is so nice.
We have a great team.
Yeah. The kid, when we walked in there, he was just super welcoming and very nice. And
Matt's done. I mean, I gotta say, for Matt, like I tip my hat to him as far as creating culture. Like he has just made it a fun place. People want to be there. Like staff want to be there. They enjoy it. You can feel it as you go in at every location. And that is just something that Matt is so gifted in.
Yeah, I was like cyber stalking you a little bit. I was looking at some of the development stuff you're doing, and like you're putting you were actually building stuff yourself inside of there, and it looked like you had some of your staff there to help and paint and stuff like that. So it's not just they're just there to, they're actually coming in and they're at the beginning stages of helping you, build this thing, and so they've got some buy-in with that.
Yeah, they're a part of it, and so that's part of what makes us so great is we make our staff feel a part of this business, and so they want to do better. They want to make that experience that's really great for customers.
So you guys been leapfrogging. You started Salem, you got South Salem. Now you got Corvallis. Now you got Eugene. What's past Eugene? Is there anything past Eugene that you're gonna go?
San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a big jump. I can see you going down the I-5 corridor and hitting these big, cities that I think this would resonate well with inside those cities.
Yeah, so I think the order was downtown, Corvallis, Eugene, and then south. Well, the truck was in there somewhere, but the truck is not a location, I guess. It's everywhere and it's nowhere.
The truck,
it's everywhere and it's nowhere.
Yeah. That's the I think the hard part I would imagine is jumping into like the brick and mortars. It's the scary part is your fixed location. I can see what the appeal of having a mobile thing, like, okay, it's not working over here, I'll just pack up and just move down the street and then maybe it'll work better over here. You've got to really build that culture and have those people come to you and have that solid foundation of clients that are coming in. They're willing to drive to wherever your location is.
It's like a cult following.
Culture. Your own cult. That's
a burger cult.
There are some there are some restaurants that really do have that. There's a donut place that is called Locals. Have you guys heard of Locals?
Yeah.
Oh man, people will follow them anywhere, and they're just sold out constantly. We had them up at the Bow and Vine in South Salem, but like when you can get that kind of magic, and people will just go wherever you're at.
They're like a food truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the hard thing with like the food truck is like we've had ones where we like their food and we've seen them at a certain location like multiple times. We're like, oh, okay, we're gonna go there and they're gonna be there and they're gone.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing on social media saying where they're at.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, did they close up? And then next thing you know, they're like, you happen to see them when you're driving by somewhere. I'm like,
that's where that marketing comes in.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You got to tell people where you are.
Yeah.
Food trucks have a lot of handicaps. There's a lot of difficulty trying to keep a food truck that's open on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Ours, basically, we just do special events and caterings. And so it's super seasonal, obviously, but like those 3 months that we have of sunshine here, we're packed full with that food truck of events.
It seems like a good way to test a market too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
Chick-fil-A did that for a while. They were like, they'd have like their food truck come in. People
was it on Mission Street when they were here?
I think so.
Before they,
Yeah. So it seems like a good way. Like, oh, this might be a market. Go put your food truck there and see if you get people that want to, really, respond well to it.
Yeah. I mean, we tried that with the South Salem location. So when we were doing construction, which took us 8 or 9 months to do, we had our food truck out there
at the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you just get them used to just showing up.
Exactly.
I just got to go a couple more feet and go in the door.
Yeah. Tease them a little.
Yeah.
How do you come up with your menu? I mean, I know it's burger, but like, how do you come up with like the specific ones?
I mean, we've had the same menu for a pretty long time. I mean, there's some special things that we've changed and added, but I mean, it's just a matter of like thinking about just different areas or different cultures or whatever to kind of see what goes together well. And so like the O Canada, which is one that I created on the food truck. So it's 9 years old, that recipe now. That's all kind of Canadian things. We got bacon, we got maple syrup, we got a fried egg on some thick buttered toast. So I mean, we just try to stay to like a theme of one thing and not just go like with wild, just throwing ingredients on stuff. But
so technically, I could have that for breakfast, right? I mean, that's
a breakfast.
He's like egg and bacon.
Yeah.
He says we, but it's him.
Well,
essentially, Matt
it started as me, but now we have such a great team. I mean,
they come up with really good ideas.
So we do monthly specials, and so me or our regional manager Peter, or Sean, who's our South Salem manager, we all kind of collaborate and come up with different ideas and put everyone puts in their opinion on different things, and that's how we come up with 90%
I like the campfire sauce. What is that? I went up to the sauce bar. You got a sauce bar.
Yeah.
And you got someone that's manning the sauce bar, and she made like campfire sauce. So it's like two things put together. What is that?
Ranch and barbecue.
I was gonna say, I thought it was ranch and
Well, don't give it
barbecue.
away. You just- that's a secret sauce.
Yeah. Super simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's, I mean, a day one sauce as well. I don't know where I got the idea for that one, but I mean, it's just ranch and barbecue sauce mixed together. So.
Well, and Brian was excited because you guys have Jones soda.
Yeah.
Instead of just regular soda.
Yeah. Jones soda is so expensive in the stores.
Yeah.
And so you're actually saving money by getting a combo meal.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Just go to
it's like $7
Bonfire,
a
get
bottle
yourself
of Jones soda, but you can get there on tap. Like, I'm going to go get a second one.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to when we first started, Brian, not being like Oregon local, didn't really know Jones Soda at all, which I thought was a national brand, but apparently it's
We were talking about that. We were
regional.
trying to figure out if
regional,
it was
yeah.
national or.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's national now, but at the time it was definitely more like Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's out of Washington, I think, or Seattle.
Mhm.
And so when we were discussing, we're like, what are we going to do? And he's like, well, why don't we just do Coke? And I'm like, no, we're going to do something. So
We gotta get fancier.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and so it ended up, we had the Jones soda machine installed. And then we had the person that does the mural, I think, that did our mural in downtown. They came in and pointed to the Jones soda. I've never seen that before. That's
I didn't
Oh,
know it
I
was
didn't
a
know-
thing.
Yeah.
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 And I think Brian looked at me and he's like, okay, I guess you made the right choice. Yeah.
Well, I think, when you talk about, like Matt was kind of joking about, like, oh, the campfire sauce is barbecue and ranch. It's not groundbreaking stuff, but it's the story that you tell behind it.
Sure.
Each burger is a character and has its own kind of, personality. And how we're able to take the sauces and turn them into something that's an experience. Like, we have over 25 sauces. We have a secret menu with more sauces. We have staff that create their own, and we can, like, highlight those. It's all about the story that you're telling.
Sure.
And I think that that's what's so unique about us is when people come in, there's like all of these combinations and things that you can do. And every time you come in, the experience could be different because it's like, oh, I'll get this and then I'll mix in these sauces and I'll go to the sauce bar and the sauce tender will say, oh, these sauces go great with this combination of things and really helps elevate the whole thing. And so it's just different every time you come in. And I think that's what we're trying to bring to every location is just that uniqueness and telling that kind of story with all of the things that, smash burgers are not like, I mean, to make a good smash burger takes some skill, but it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great
It's like,
smash
hey.
burgers. No, it's not taking anything away from him.
kidding.
Like, you could have great smash burgers and completely fall flat on your face
Yeah.
with the rest of the business. Like, how many people say that, oh, I love to cook, and so I thought I'd start a restaurant, and then it completely fails. Like, they can cook great food, but that's a portion of it. I think you have to be able to see the whole thing together and how all the pieces fit together, and not only that, be consistent in it. And that is what I think the team has brought together to be able to do and do something special beyond just like, oh, it's just smash burgers or, oh, it's just sauce, two sauces mixed together. Like, we've created a story behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has that the local Northwest kind of thing that kind of comes together with it, with the Jones soda, and you name some of the stuff that has kind of a Northwest theme to it a little bit. Is there any so city by city? Is there have you found that there's like a certain burger or something that's on your menu that resonates well in one city, but it's different in another city?
I mean, I haven't really looked location by location, but I mean, there's not much that's like this. They do this way more than this one. I guess Eugene would be my only. We sell a lot more fried chicken in Eugene than we do anything. Well, we sell more burgers still, but more fried chicken there than we do at the other locations.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's just they have a lack of fried chicken in Eugene or what, but
It's very close to duck. I don't know.
Very close to duck.
yeah, our fried chicken numbers in Eugene are far better than the other stores. But I mean, most popular stuff, I mean, is simple stuff. So I mean, our Bow and Vine burger, which is a classic cheeseburger, that obviously is our number one seller. Followed by the Create Your Own burger because people want to kind of
People are
do their own
like
thing.
individuality. They want to create their own thing there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's no standouts from one location to the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had any challenges in these cities, kind of moving from one to another?
Well, it's a restaurant, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, but they're very difficult to
They
operate.
are. They sometimes are. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the survival rate for starting a restaurant?
I don't know, Mike. Do you know the survival rate? You do know the.
I do.
Okay, do you want to take? You want
Let
to?
me-
Yeah.
He's like, let me
change
tap
it.
me out here.
Yeah.
I listened to you when you were standing over here, and it was like an echo.
You drive.
I think it'd be better. So, I'm
Mike's
back.
back.
Hi.
Right.
So yeah, survival rate on restaurants. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I knew this before. You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted a restaurant. My dad said, no, they're money losers. Well, after he passed away, I opened a restaurant. But 10% of restaurants survive the first year.
10.
10%.
10%.
Wow.
Those
So
are like realtor numbers. Like,
it's well, right now,
I
yeah,
can say that.
yeah. Realtor numbers aren't very good right now. Let's hope that the economy and we just went to a thing on real estate. So yeah, that's another story. After 5 years, 10% of those restaurants fail.
What's the common denominator? Is there one? Is it like if you don't have your books down right, or what is it?
That's the key is financial backing.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have at least 6 months reserve when you open the doors. A year would be even better.
Wow.
But yeah, it's the toughest business to get into and to survive. It's easy to get into. It's tough to survive.
Is the 6 months to a year? Is that just to get you through that first 6 months, or you're going to reach a point where all of a sudden you're going to have to tap into 6 months at some point in the?
No, you need that initially to get started because there's a honeymoon period on restaurants generally, and once that period is up, it's like a couple of months, and then if you do real good marketing like Brian, that first restaurant we were blessed. We had a historical grant from the city, so when I restored, or Matt and I and Brian was detail oriented. I was on the scaffolding on the front of that building, taking down an ugly marble-crete front.
What was there before you guys? I'm trying
It
to
was
It
was a Thai restaurant,
and then it was vacant for.
and then it was vacant, and a gal was going to open something, and then her husband passed away, and she remodeled the whole inside of it, but left the outside this ugly. And then we went in and changed the whole remodel again.
Wow.
But it had a kitchen, so that saved us a lot of money
Yeah.
because it already had a kitchen in place, and we were able to modify it to work with what we needed. And then when we restored the front, the city paid us. Gave us a 50% grant on that. So we came in pretty sweet on the initial. We rebuilt the whole front of that building and brought it back to the original brick and had the windows put back in, and turned out really nice. You've seen it. And then because of our marketing, when we opened the doors and there was a line clear down around the corner of people waiting to get in, and it was an hour wait, and that was just to get in.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were so overwhelmed. We were
That
able
was your
to,
soft launch?
that was our soft launch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my best, but we were not prepared.
So what was on the
at
menu
all.
for a soft launch? It's
It's the same menu.
Full
So
menu.
Okay.
Typically,
menu.
when we open a restaurant, we do 2 to 3 days of invite only soft opening, and everything's free. And it's basically just we give it away because we know our staff is going to make mistakes,
Yeah.
and the whole point is to get them trained up. And so, I mean, that first one, I only hired, I think, 9 people, and now we usually run a restaurant with about 18. So we were way
Learning
overwhelmed
curve.
from
Yeah.
that first location.
Yeah. Well, we were going off of how our other restaurants run, and it's just a small staff. I mean, the way they operate. Well, the burgers are so fast paced. I mean, it's like just cranking it out. And
Fast paced, labor intensive.
Yeah.
There's lots of factors.
but with that, once that initial opening, and then once people started paying to come in, it didn't slow down for 6 months. We were able to pay off the debt on that in, I think, 2 or 3 months. We had the
That's
completely,
incredible.
and that's how we were able to, within the next year, open Corvallis.
Okay.
So I think was it a year or less than a year?
It was just over a year. I think we opened Corvallis October of 2018.
I think
Yeah.
it was October, because we thought, oh, it's October. You never open a restaurant going into the winter months.
Was going into a new market kind of like starting over, or was some of that carryover from the previous launch? People like, oh, I know about that place in Salem, and then they're opening something up here.
Yeah, I mean, we because it's not like super far away. It was a half an hour
Get back
drive to
into
get to
market.
Corvallis, and so we had a decent amount of people that already knew who we were and what we do. And luckily, it's a college town, and so they're coming in, not necessarily like new college kids are coming in, not necessarily knowing what the town already had or what it has, and so we were able to, I mean, have a huge grand opening at that location as well. But we were far more prepared. I hired 18 people, so yeah, I mean that one was another slam dunk.
Well,
opening for
again,
us.
too, we try to look for places that are existing restaurants. That not to say that they've failed, but usually they've failed, and we'll go in there and they'll have the existing infrastructure in.
Yeah.
So they've
it's
got good
recycling.
systems.
Oregons love recycling.
Exactly. So that saves us a ton of money when we do that.
Yeah.
And we're able to recoup a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I think Corvallis took us about a year to pay off, as opposed to, Eugene is still being paid off, and it's almost done. Couple
Eugene's
more
its own story, but
but usually, you when you do a commercial loan, they're usually 5-year loans. They've bumped it up to 7 years now because of the way the economy's this last year, but 5-year loans. So you've got to get them paid off in 5 years. And if you're doing well, that's a great, benchmark, is to have that paid off in the 5 years. And we like to get them paid off quicker.
Sure.
And because then you can start paying yourself quicker. But so that was Corvallis. Eugene, again, we went into Eugene, and it had an existing kitchen. We had to do a lot more work in Eugene. We had to hire a contractor for Eugene, and usually we do it all ourselves. But Eugene's a different animal. And then
Eugene also had a terrible start. So we started the process.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we started the
This is
process of
great.
getting our Eugene location in like summer of 2019.
Yeah.
And it took us way longer to finish the renovation than we expected.
because we hired a contractor.
Because we hired a contractor.
Okay.
And our grand opening date ended up being March of 2020.
Oh, I was wondering if you were going to say that.
Yeah. So
Do you know
What
what
happened
day?
then?
What day it was? We're having our pre-open party, and friends of ours are coming down from Salem to see us do our party. They're getting their free food. Everybody's coming in, and all of a sudden, I'm watching, because I'm very political too, and I'm watching our governor make these statements. And then by the end of the party, it's like,
Hurry up and eat. Hurry up and eat.
everybody's laid off today.
yeah,
Wow.
So we had to lay off everybody at that store before we even opened it.
almost everybody. So we ended up, me and a team of probably 4 or 5 people decided to open Eugene on the day that everything shut down. And we probably should have had more people yet again. So we found ourselves in that same situation where we were overwhelmed, even with it being takeout only. No one's able to dine in. We ended up, it was busy for weeks, and newspaper wrote an article about us, and then it just continued to get busier all through COVID of shutting down.
And he's driving down from Salem every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And his now wife.
Yep.
And the two of them, and Sean, our manager there, and a couple other people, and it was crazy.
Every day, yeah, driving to and from Eugene, working. I mean, I think we limited our hours to try and help a little bit, but still, like, it was a huge opening for us, even with everything that was going on. And then it all kind of evened out in the end. So
So at that point, you had Salem, Corvallis, and now Eugene.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did that kind of stifle your progress as far as like where you want to be at like right now?
Oh, it shut us down quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we had this goal of, I mean, we've looked at Bend probably a dozen times.
Yeah.
We'll go over there and scout locations. And we actually had offers in on places over there, and nothing has worked. I think Bend is just not meant to be for Bow and Vine right now. But
Is there so going from a food truck, your supply chain is very small, and then scaling it, how does that supply chain affect the business as you move farther and farther and farther away?
I mean, luckily we have a really good product supplier, and so I mean, there's been good times and bad times, but right now, like they're doing very well with keeping up with us, and we have a really great salesman, and so he's been really good at keeping all our products in place. I mean, as long as the managers are ordering enough for their store, then they're going to have the product for us. So it's actually been working out pretty well lately.
Good.
yeah, the hard
2020
part
was
yeah,
not-
that was
not great.
Yeah,
But-
but talk about the COVID aspect
Yeah.
of it, and it was rough during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of restaurants shut down during that time, and then they never just opened back up.
Yep.
Well, that was it. That's a thing. We were able to pivot quickly and with our product and be able to get it into we didn't used to have the delivery services for Bow and Vine. We didn't feel we
Yeah.
needed to use them.
Before COVID, I was
Yeah.
very adamant that we won't have
Because-
delivery.
Yeah.
Well, you can't guarantee the quality of your product when it leaves your hand.
Yeah.
And Matt can talk about this. We would get complaints on our fries, so he started doing research and found a box that we could put our fries in.
Yeah, so we had to pivot and find better ways to execute.
What's
takeout.
this
And
box? What is that?
It's just a
Magic fry box.
it's just a cardboard box that has a couple holes in it, so steam
So
escapes.
okay,
Yeah.
that's the problem I
Yeah,
had.
exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you solved my problem. Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, but I can see where, especially because you have a very specific experience when people walk in.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, it's kind of like a dine-in-ish type of experience when you walk in, and then you got, when you're having someone else come in and pick up your food, then I can see where it.
Yeah, we really focus on the experience, so it's hard to kind of transition that into takeout and in delivery and still have the same experience, because then your experience is just about the food.
Yeah. Cool. So, what's the next city? Or you guys even have that in the works as far as like what area do you want to see this grow to? Because I'm guessing you guys want to see it grow.
Yeah,
To some point.
Yeah, we definitely want to continue to grow this business and keep moving forward. I mean, I don't know how much we want to say about this, but I mean,
He's like,
I mean,
"Thanks for
say all.
we,
all
we
well,
haven't
Say
really.
it
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been looking at spots on the moon, so
it's a big one
that's
coming
that's
up.
going to be a challenge, but we're looking into it.
Yeah.
No, I think that so we started collecting data quite a while ago on where people were coming from, and so we were. On top of that, we also started to figure out what works well for us. So we had a downtown location with no parking. We had a Corvallis location where you had a lot of students that could access it through walking, bikes, but it would also had parking next to it. So it was kind of not, it was more accessible.
Yeah.
You had Eugene, which has its own downtown challenges. It's paid parking, which downtown Salem's about to go into that in the spring. And so that comes with different challenges. And then you have South Commercial, which has all of the parking, all of the accessibility, and all of the foot traffic.
Yeah.
Not necessarily foot traffic, but a lot of traffic. And so we have these different models, and we've figured out what's worked well, combined with knowing where people are coming from. And because of our experience and our menu, we know that we're going after a certain demographic for the most part. And so I think that has helped create a decision matrix to really figure out what is the ideal location for us, what size would that look like?
Yeah.
Because if you're going downtown, you probably want to go a little bit smaller, more efficient footprint. Whereas out south, that's our largest location, and that place posted, records last weekend. And it just continues to grow and grow because of the accessibility. I think, it's part of
Yeah.
it, but people will fill that space. Whereas downtown, I think it was 30 maybe that we
It
could
was-
fit in there.
It was 36 seats.
36
Yeah.
seats. So that gets real tight real quick.
Yeah.
So when it comes to choosing a location, we don't have anything specific right now, but I think we're very aware now of what the best footprints look like for us.
Yeah.
And so it's just the next decision we make will probably be based on all of like most businesses, all of the experiences that we've kind of gathered. We'll be like, okay, we'll do this differently next time.
Yeah. I can see based on the demographics how Bend and like Redmond would be an awesome spot
Yeah.
to get to if you can get over the pass.
Well,
and
I
get
think
to
that's
it.
why Mike alluded. We looked,
Yeah.
so many times driving out there.
Yeah.
It just was not. We could not figure it out. Well, we could figure it out, but then the landlord was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go with somebody local," and then they did. One of the spots that we looked at, actually, they chose their buddy who went on to start a restaurant, and they failed within 2 years, I think, something like that. They were in and out.
They were in and out.
They were in and
Wow.
out. And so, I mean, it just goes to show, like, you could look at Bend. Bend had the highest restaurant per capita in the nation at one point.
Yeah.
And
Bend
it's-
did?
yeah, and some of their breweries and bars have actually closed down because they could not. There was just not enough demand to meet the supply.
Is it mostly because Corvallis is a college town.
Mhm.
You're always going to get revolving kids coming through there. Bend is more like a destination spot.
A lot of retirees in Bend, and not. In addition to that, a lot of retirees with a higher level of income than you might see in different parts of Oregon. So you have this crowd that values experiences and destination type stuff. But then you have colleges that are coming in and sort of younger adventure seekers that are coming in. And so Bend is kind of this really interesting demographic. And so you would look at Bend and say, wow, there's a lot happening there. Anybody who goes in is going to be successful there. And again, it goes back to, like, do you have the right team? Do you have the right model?
Yeah.
Do you have the right price points? Are you creating enough value? What's your brand? What's your, systems look like? Can you do this consistently? There's just so many things that go into it that just because you're like, Bend, you'll be successful in Bend. Well, not necessarily. And
Yeah.
we've seen that happen.
Interesting. That's a lot to take in when you open up a restaurant. That's probably why a lot of people either don't want to get into it or they don't succeed at it because they don't kind of evaluate, some of that stuff that comes up. They say, I really like this spot. I can see myself in here. But can other people see themselves coming into your restaurant and actually giving you money
if
for
you
it?
build it, they will come.
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we felt pretty confident going into Eugene, at least I did, that if you build it, they will come. We had a brand we had a strong experience, and Eugene, Corvallis, Salem are sort of interconnected
Yeah.
in terms of the people that are moving and talking and students from here, And so we felt like we already had sort of a brand presence in Eugene to begin with. And so, separate from having the entire world shut down, we felt pretty good about it.
Yeah.
And so going into it, it was our largest location. We took a big risk in just going big, hiring contractors like Mike was talking about.
How big is that one? We've never been to that one.
It's, how many seats is it? Like,
Yeah, it's like 60 seats.
Wow.
yeah, South Salem is now our biggest. But at the time, we're like, let's go big. Like, we feel good about this. And so, it's just, man, in a different world, it would have been really cool to see at the start what Eugene could have become. I feel like a lot of momentum was killed right out of the gate. And year over year, we've been building and building and building. And this year has been better than last year, like significantly. But there's still people not coming back to work downtown. And that was part of what our calculation included, these workers coming and our lunches being bigger and, a lot of that type of stuff. And it's starting to happen slowly, but we saw that with downtown Salem. Downtown Salem just crashed after that. And, it built back up over. But there was like downtown Salem in 2019 and downtown Salem in 2020 to 2025. And it's a different world, at least from a restaurant, small business perspective.
How do you guys feel about the drive-through model? Is that not in the
Mike's
cards?
going, no.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Not for us.
Yeah, I think, delivery and drive-through are kind of the equivalent. We want people to come in.
Is that where the quality starts going down with some of the drive-through type
I mean,
things?
not necessarily. It's just a matter of we're not fast enough for a drive-through.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to create a different experience and a better product. And so for us to be fast enough for a drive-through, I mean, we'd have to take away at some of the quality that we're providing, and that's not something that we're looking to do.
Yeah, if they have those hamburgers cooked to 90% and ready to go, and then
Exactly.
you microwave the rest of it.
Yeah, you just zap them, zap and wrap.
So we know kind of you guys are going to be expanding at some point. Is there anything as far as your current locations? Is there events or anything coming up that you guys? I mean, the state fair. Do you guys have any booths at the state fair to help drive some of this?
So the food truck, I mean, coming up, I mean, like I said, we're booked like all summer long with that food truck. So we do state fair typically. We haven't gotten that email yet. So we're still hoping they want us back.
That's
but
got to be
we've done it-
expensive, though, isn't it, to get in the state fair?
We're in a different area that's a little bit better for us.
I think I know which area you're talking
Yeah.
about.
We-
You're in the quieter area. where-
So yeah, we're gonna. I mean, at State Fair, at least the last 2-3 years that we've done it, we're out in the Green Acres Landscape Garden area, and there's us and several other food trucks. I mean, Geppetto's, Chicken Shack was there before.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a different to get away from like the fair food.
I was last year. I
Yeah.
was so mad. We went through and we got all the food and we were going through all the stuff. We're holding the food and like because there's no place to sit over there. There's garbage piling up. And then we went over to your area. You've
By
got a
accident.
band playing.
Yeah.
There's like beautiful seating everywhere. It's like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Why did I?
It's like,
Yeah.
that was all me.
Oh man. So yeah, I felt gypped because
Brian's looking at his food here.
So
I'm looking
next
at-
year, if you guys are there, I'll know to go over there. We'll
Yeah.
get some nice seating. We'll get some good food. We'll hear some tunes. We won't have to sit there and stand in the corner and eat like we're
yeah.
getting
No,
like
it's a nice area. That music does get a little repetitive after day 7.
a yeah.
But
I
other
mean,
than
I can see
that,
that.
We know all the songs.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. And how do people? You got social media because I've seen you post all kinds of stuff on there. That's how I found out about you. Do you want to share your social media, some of your website or anything else?
Yes, that would be great.
Marketing guide. Do you want to do
Like,
that?
how do we support
Yeah.
you?
No. Too much, too soon. It's at Bo and Vine,
Okay.
ANDVINE is Facebook and Instagram. So you can find us there, and then boandvine.com, BOANDVINE.com.
If one thing I forgot to ask you guys, how many different names did you guys come up with before you landed on Bo and Vine?
oh,
Well, we started with Bo and Vine, and I was like, nah, that's too quick. Like, we got to
That
put
was
some,
too easy.
we gotta think about
we
this.
put some
a little.
thought into this. So it was like 2 weeks of like intensive like word study, and nothing really stuck quite the way Bo and Vine did. And
Yeah.
so we just ended up coming right back to that. But like, there were probably about half the names had an and in it. Like that's the big joke right now,
Yeah.
like just put an and in it,
Yeah,
and that's what we did.
yeah.
But I think it would right out of the gate, like it just fit, it made sense. But there was I remember when we first opened. I don't know if I told you this, but I was outside the downtown Salem one and doing something, and these 2 guys walked past, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Bo and Vine. I'm pretty sure that they have a couple locations in Portland." This was our first one. So we hit that like trendy hipster throw the and in it, So, but no, the name was right out of the gate. What stuck?
So you almost went to just bovine.
Bovine.
That's it. So
Yeah,
Is
just
it
bovine.
is it like short for bovine or is it short for bovine and vine?
No, it's short for like cow,
Yeah, cow,
bovine.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
put an and in it. I don't know.
Perfect.
Yeah, it worked out.
It worked.
Yeah,
We'll start doing that at all of our businesses we start.
I know.
just put an and in
Put an
everything.
and in
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
H&D open house.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nope.
Open
No.
and
Doesn't-
house.
Open and
Yeah.
house.
I don't know.
Well, again, thanks for coming out, and we appreciate you coming out. We love supporting local businesses. So if everybody has not tried Bo and Vine, they have plenty of parking now over in their South Salem location, and I haven't been to Corvallis, so I have to go. I drive to Corvallis quite a bit, so I'll need to go over there to try it out over there.
We're going to start seeing them on our bank statements. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
boom,
You got to review each
What
location.
is this? Yeah.
And then you'll see me on the truck.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again.
No, thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.